Okay everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to go through a few things. My new car, 2023 WRX. I'm going to go through a bit of the stuff that I like about it, what I don't like about it, and as well I'm going to jump straight into doing some mods. You'll see I've already opened up the box here, but I've had a delivery from D-Maker or Street Element, and these guys are sent through. This isn't sponsored, I did buy all this stuff. I've got like a rear wing, which is going to be pretty sick to add on to because the current wing's like pretty small. I'll show you that in a sec. As well, I've got a grill and I've got some visors that are pretty sleek looking as well too. So today I'm going to show you how to put on the grill. First take off the bumper and that sort of stuff. As well, I'm going to show you how easy it is to put on a spoiler on these things. So yeah, let's get to it. So just to go over some of the things that I like about the car and don't like necessarily, we've got oil temperature and water temperature in the top of the display at all times, which is really handy. The shift feel, really good. It's got more of a mechanical feel to it. There's a boost gauge in the middle of the dash, which I really like. The quality of the interior on this one is way big step up from previous models. There is a hardwired Apple and Android CarPlay, and a lot of the screen isn't used, which is a bit strange, but I hear there's an update coming for it, so I'll stay tuned for that one. The rear tail lights are this cool kind of broken sort of style inside them. The wheel gap is pretty horrendous, so that's definitely a mod that I'm going to be doing, is some coilovers in the thing. I do miss the rumble of the Boxer engine. But I am going to be putting on a exhaust for it in the coming sort of weeks, months. So stay tuned for that video. But let's now get to the install. So the tools you're going to need for the job are a ratchet with a 10mm, a flathead screwdriver or a small pry bar, and a Phillips head screwdriver. There's some tabs and some 10mm that you're going to have to pull up. They're just along the very edge of the bumper. You don't need to take off any of the other ones on the top. So you'll see here that I'm unscrewing the 10mm first. I'm putting them on a magnetic tray so I don't lose them. And then next it's unclipping all of the tabs with my small pry bar. They just pop up as you put your pry bar in. There's a little metal frame that lays on top of the bumper to hold it down sandwiched. So I put this out of the way in a lower spot, so if I accidentally close the bonnet I won't warp it. And that's what it looks like without the top bar. Next, on the sides, I pulled off the two tabs either side of the car. They just clip out with the flathead. And then I did it on both sides first. Put those somewhere safe as well. And then next I went underneath, and it's only some clips that you got to undo the whole way under. You'll see some screws under there, but that's actually for my lip spoiler holding them in. So it's all just tabs. You just have to go along and make sure you find them all. Next, it's these headlight washers. They come out just by prying them a little bit, and there's just a small tab on top. Be very careful not to break it. It comes off very easily, so you don't have to use any force. They just unclip just by touching the tab, basically pulling it up a little bit, and they retract back into the car. Next, the bumper pops really easily, so just be very careful. And there's also underneath your fog lights, there's a little wiring harness in there that you've got to unclip. So just make sure you do those if you have fog lights installed, because you don't want to rip the wiring out of the car. There's a small tab that you just got to unclip. See on the top here, there's a little tab that you press down on, and then the bumper should come away fairly easily. If it doesn't, just don't yank on it. Alright, so I brought it inside. Lulu is terrified of it, as all staffies are, of everything. You're alright. Yes. So I brought it in for a bit of light to show. So this grill that I've got on here at the moment is actually an aftermarket grill. So it does sort of hook into the same places that the standard grill goes, but it's just worth checking. All it really is there's some tabs that you sort of unclip at the top. This one has some Phillips head screws that go into it, pretty similar to the standard one. So just have a look at it. It's really quite simple to pull out, but basically it just involves unscrewing any of the Phillips head screws, and then there's a little tab that you click down in these flat bits just to pull it out. So I'll do that now. There we go. I've taken the old aftermarket grill that I had on the car off. Oh, it's terrifying, isn't it? And I'll just show you what the standard one looks like, just so if you have the standard one, it's pretty similar. So here's the standard one. In my opinion, it's hideous, but you'll notice that on the standard one, there is tabs along the bottom as well as the top. So it really involves just undoing the couple of screws, well, Phillips head screws that are in here, and then you just do your tabs top and bottom. So that's what it looks like. That's the other aftermarket style you can get, and this is the one that I'll be putting on it. Have to put the camera down. And this one is closer to the previous generation look. So I like how it's sort of sunk in a bit more. The reason why I didn't like this one so much is that it kind of sticks out a lot, makes the bulbous shape of the car go out. But I mean, as well, it sort of has that 12 to 14 Liberty look. So, I mean, if it's for you, that's for you. It looks sick. I was very happy with it until I saw this one, and I was like, yeah, that's more my style. So I'll get now installing this one. As you can imagine, very similar to the previous one that went in. It's just that this time, instead of having any of the tabs, it's just got the screws, but they are supplied for you with the kit, and there are holes for them to go into. So when you do it, it's quite simple to get it done. So I'll go from here. And just to highlight how it goes on, where there isn't actually any drilling or changes to the actual vehicle, where the tabs were, there's just a little slot, and then the grill that sticks in here attaches in, and then you just bolt it. I'll try and get this focused. Yeah, where the tab was, there's just a hole there. So a screw just goes in there and then fixes it to the car. No damage to anything. You can take it off, slip the old tabs right back in, and just where the other standard bolt holes are, it just also lines up. So it's a really good quality product from Street Element and D-Maker, so really liking it. And I'll show you what it looks like in a sec when it's finished. All right, you'll see that where the old tabs came in, the new bolts have little locators that they can screw into that are inside the grille. So again, no damage to your WRX bumper, which is great. And this is what it looks like. Get my phone out the way. All right, this is what it looks like. I will add a badge later in the center just because I like that little bit of a more of an OEM kind of look. But for the moment, this is looking pretty sick. So I'm just going to go and add this back to the car. Then I can get started on the rear spoiler. Now at this point there's a rubber venting that is just in front of the grill where the standard connects to. So it's just two clips that you can undo, and then there's two areas where it's fastened in. It's because it's like a rubber consistency, it's quite easy to maneuver out the way. So it's just taking off those two little clips there, and then it pulls out quite easily from the sides. So as you can see, it comes out. I don't force anything or rip anything out, and it just flops out there. Here's a better representation of where those two clips are at the top, and they're just the same as normal flathead ones. And then I'm able to put the bumper back on without it hitting anything. From here, I make sure it's all clipped in, and then just do the reverse from the way that you took things off. So I did all the bottom clips in. I made sure that I plugged in the fog lights, which I didn't show here. These just click back in. If they don't, you could probably pull out the actual washer and make sure it's fully connected. I always like to test because you don't want to lose these. And now I've just done a bit of a test to make sure the fog lights are working and that all of the front washers are also still connected and working like they should be. So now it's time to put the top railing back on. And then it's just done up the same way that you took it all off.
Alright, that looks pretty sick. Now I'm going to put on the rear spoiler, so I'll turn the car around and we'll get into that.
The tools you'll need will be an 8mm on a ratchet with an extension and a flathead screwdriver.
So it adds a bit more aggression to the car. Firstly, all you need to do is pop the trunk. And then take off all of these. And then inside there, we've just got two 8mm bolts, and then these little green tabs that are along. So one on the end over there, if I can see it. One 8mm in there, another little green tab up in there, one there, and then another 8mm. So I'll go ahead and unbolt that. One thing to note is to make sure that you're holding it as you're unbolting it so it doesn't fall back and scratch anything. As you can see, it took a little bit of a pull after I got the 8s out, but it's just literally 1, 2, 3, 4, holding the whole thing on. So a little bit of persuasion and it will come out really easily. Well, I wouldn't say easily actually, it will come out. This is what the boot looks like without anything. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up that little bit there.
Next, what I want to do is add some double-sided tape to this. You'll see that there's provisions for the bolts, but what you really want to do is seal up these edges because there are holes in the boot. You could just bolt these in, but the holes in the boot might get some sort of mildew or, you know, any sort of air, water, whatever into it as you're driving. So, and this will keep it stuck on there pretty well. So I'm just going to cut some to size, and then I'll show you a trick of how to mount it without having to stick it straight away. It's always the easiest way to get any of this double-sided tape stuff done. I'll show you how to double-sided tape something because it's pretty obvious. So let's just use some YouTube magic. So you can see I put it around. I've tried to make it as sealed and close together as possible so that water isn't going to really be running in. Then what you really want to do is that these little tabs, you just want to make sure it's obviously on first. But what I like to do is get a little bit of the tab and sort of press it over so that, and I'll do one each side so that when I go to place it, I can put it where I want and then bolt it down and then pull this off, and it will mean that it's fixed and located. But if you fully take this tape off and then put it down on the car and it's in the wrong spot, it's going to be hard to get back up and you're going to compromise your tape. So it's just the best idea to do it this way. It's pretty easy to unstick just a tiny little bit of it to make sure that you can get it in the right spot. So I'll go put this on now. I'll just add the bolts in first, make sure that the bolt actually lines up prior to anything, because the last thing you want is to strip one of these and then it will be sort of useless. So we'll go do that. So I'm going to close the boot thusly, see if I can line it up first a little bit to make sure that it's sitting, and then like I said, make sure those tabs are sticking out. So what I want to do now is just go and see whether or not my bolt holes are lined up. There we go, got that one lined up and that one lined up, which means it's dead center. So I've got some 10 mils here that I'm gonna use to tighten these up. Now once I've tightened up those 10 mil bolts, it's as easy as that. Push it down a bit. It's contacting all areas. And yeah, now we've got that spoiler on. I'll take some photos of it in a bit. Last thing that I want to move on to in this video is to do the weather visors. So those ones are the easiest things to do. It's why I left them till last. And basically they're just double-sided tape. They already come double-sided tape too, so all you have to do really is peel them off, same method that I did with the boot, and put them on. Which ones are which? They line up with the doors, so you can pretty much find out because there's only one way you can really put them. So I'm gonna go, I'll put the camera down and do this, and I'll keep my GoPro running so you can see. Follow the same process for the back so we can line them up. Pretty cool design. Again, I'll show you in the light so you get to see what they actually look like, but they're pretty sick looking rain visors actually. So firstly, I'll peel off this bottom tape, this little bit here. There's a bit of foam so that it doesn't scratch this bit here. And then again, lift up a little bit of this tab. It's as easy as that. Sticks on perfectly. It's got a really good stick to it, so you can actually feel it's quite solid. Obviously with this sort of stuff you leave it for a little bit, don't let any water get into it because you want it to be strong, so it'll bond after a little amount of time. And I'll get some angles in the sunshine. I'm going to do the other side, but same, it's probably one of the easiest mods you can do to a car, so I'm not going to really spend too much time on it. for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe or like it, or if you didn't, just let me know. There'll be some more mods coming in the near future, along the lines of addressing that wheel gap, and as well perhaps the exhaust note that seems to be not even here at all. And yeah, I'll catch you soon. Peace.